I'm saying is yeah, again, guys, let's talk about the Makotis who are joining these families. Newlyweds, the only person that you know from this house is your husband, that you know better than everyone else. So what I want us to look at, and maybe look at with open minds, it's going to help us, because it's just as thorny an issue as the issue of a guy doing the spade work and making sure that you fit into the family, and that you do not have those minor conflicts that are given birth to by lack of understanding. So about this particular one, I'm leaning towards our sisters, born again sisters, because they seem to be a bit too liberated, and I know they are not the only ones, but this is something that is happening quite often, and I've seen it and I've spoken about it with a lot of people. You are joining this household, you are an outsider, and the brother is gone, and he has done the spade work. He has prepared the family, the territory for you to join in. First mistake that our sisters make, it is to think that they do not need to change. Let me leave it there, because for a second I wanted to explain that, but let me leave it there. You can have the coolest mother-in-law, you can have the best mother-in-law in the entire world. The attitude that most sisters join those families with, that they must know me for who I am and whatnot and whatnot, boom, red light, wrong, totally wrong. Even back then, with our parents, our grandparents, and our great grandparents, a girl represents her family. That's why they would choose a child based on that they do not know, based on the knowledge that they have of the family, of the parents. So when you join this particular family, you must know that you are representing your family. If you are going to come in and say those were washing dishes, must continue doing that. Those who were cooking must continue doing that. I will slot in and see what I can do. Wrong. As a married girl, the first thing that you need to know is that you are joining a family that has systems that are in place. And people are not going to change because of you. When I say they're not going to change because of you, are not going to come and disrupt the systems that are already in place there. Get that mentality out of your head. And this lack of humility, when you join these families, when you come and think that you have a special claim to this guy who's been part of a family for 25 up to 30 years, is wrong. You do not have a sole claim to this guy. Remember, this guy has sisters, has a mother, has a father, and a whole lot of other people that were part of his life. So you must know that when you join, as much as he has done the spade work, you need to represent your own self. You need to represent your family. And whatever that you do reflects, entirely to how you were raised. Drop the attitudes and understand that you are joining a family that does not know you. And you need to step out of your comfort. If your parents have never, raised you, as a girl who wakes up in the morning and make tea for them, it's good and well. But in this household, first thing that you need to do, try to understand how they do things. If a mother wakes up in the morning, makes tea for the father, you assume that the responsibility is umakoti. And this thing yokuthembiselana and try and make terms with the daughters of the household, it is good, but that's not the first thing that you need to establish. The first thing that you need to do when you get there, it is to make sure that you take responsibility for the running of the household. What do I mean by that? In the morning, if your in-laws want tea, you have to wake up and prepare tea for them. That's how it is. As the black community, that's how things are. Except for when you have had these things, and then the parents are quite okay, with you not making tea for them. Then at least it's one responsibility of your list of responsibilities. I know it does not always happen like that, but I'm speaking about the attitude here. When we are joining the family, do whatever that needs to be done. Of course, not exhausting yourself. Whatever that needs to be done. And when you do that, good families will always try to make sure that you are not being enslaved. But you cannot say, I'll wake up at 10 because at home I wake up. You are married in this household. And I know that as believers we do not talk about these things. That's why we have toxic Makotis. That's why we have problematic and troublesome Makotis, because they come with a terrible attitude when they join these households. Number two, you stop burdening the brothers, with your attitude, because remember, these guys are in the middle of their family. They are taking a lot of beating from the family in protecting you, and also you are barraging the guy with all sorts of blows, because he's in between your family. Please make it easy for the guys, and just be, a good children, because you are joining as a child. And if you are joining as a child, please be a child, because if you choose not to be a child, you are going to be treated as such. It's going to help you to drop the attitude and make sure that you become a child here. And here is one thing that I want to advise you on. If there's a girl here, make sure that you grab her, bring her as close as you possibly can, so that you can understand how things are done, so that you can have her on your side, so that she can introduce you and kind of, orientate you, into this family, because the guy is not going to do that. Mother-in-law may do that, but she will do that to some extent. So establish somebody that you are going to trust, somebody, and drop the attitude. Somebody that you are going to trust, somebody that you are going to, work hand in glove with to assist you through these murky waters. Again, do not say, this is how I do things. It's a new territory. You do not have a way of doing things when you are there. You join a family that has systems, and you join into those systems. You fit into those systems. You are not going to come and change, an age-old tradition in that particular family, because akoko kwenu up. Those are not your parents. Even if they say, Makoti, you can, you don't have to. I'm telling you now, even if your mother-in-law is the sweetest ever, never drop your guards. Never, do anything that is going to reflect negatively to your family. And allow me to add this, that is going to paint Christianity in a bad light. Because not only are you, a representative of your family, but you represent Christ. Abazalwane are known for being lazy. This is what makes izinto easy. It is when, you have a household of your own, when you get married and niyazihlalela in your own, house or apartment or whatever the case is. When you go there, because that is a huge advantage. Then when you go to your in-laws, what you need to do is to make sure that you get in there, make the best impressions, and leave. That's why I always, advise that you don't spend too much time with the in-laws, because you are going to drop your guards. Do not spend too much time with the in-laws. If you go there, a weekend is enough. At the most, a week. But even, the even a week is a bit too much. It needs for you to adjust yourself and make sure that you know psych yourself up to stay with them, because you need to step out of your character and do what is needed, what is good, and make those impressions. I know, mothers-in-law are quite, relaxed, especially these days, and things are not as horrible as they were back then. But my advice to you is that behave like a well-raised child. Want to say more, but I don't have time. Let's talk about this and let's discuss it. Keep well, guys. Bye.